solidarity movement for their very excellent work which they are doing for many years now.
It is not, and also that it is not just for one community, the Muslim community, but for everyone.
Should be the true spirit of any social or religious organization. And I really congratulate them for this. And I think this model should be replicated in other states also. It will be very good for our great country and also for our great community. I'm also grateful to them that they have invited me here today to inaugurate this session. And I'm happy to inaugurate this because this is something which is very close to my heart, and this is something which is going to also correct the wrongs which are happening in our country by way of a criminal conspiracy, as I say, which is not just from within our country but outside also. But since I've been told that people in Kerala are very well read and they know most of the things I've been saying at other places, I should confine my inaugural speech to my personal experiences in handling unlawful activities prevention cases, in common parlance, the cases pertaining to terror laws. So I would not go into the conspiracy and what are the reasons behind it. I will just confine myself that what are the challenges and what are the difficulties and what are the plus points or the good points which are necessary for not only just the victims of these terror laws who have been falsely implicated, but also for the society at large, also for the growth and strengthening of the country. It is also important that educated people like you, people who interact with people, other people, the common people across the strait, that you are educated, that you know the in-depth and first-hand experiences of people who are involved in this great struggle, if I may say, as of now, to not only bring out these innocent people out of jails, not only get them acquitted, but also to vindicate them that they were innocent. That vindication can only happen if the real people who are committing these terrorist acts, who are committing all these explosions and all, are arrested and put behind bars. That will be a great service to our great country, India, because only then India will be free of terrorism, when real terrorists are caught. A very good example of this has recently come out in a judgment of Akshardham. The 2002 brutal and inhuman massacre of devotees in Akshardham temple in Gujarat. In the recent judgment, the Supreme Court has highlighted a very important point, which I think is very important. That Supreme Court said in its judgment that instead of catching no efforts were made to catch the real culprits. And instead of catching the real terrorists, some innocent people were involved in this case and the matter was shown to be solved. Now, this is the danger we are facing. Supreme Court also has held in this case, as you must have all read, I don't want to repeat, that it has come with a strong criticism of not only the trial court, the special courts for POTA, because at that point in time, 2002, it was POTA which was prevalent in the country and not the present UAPA, which came into existence after 2004. And then even more stringent version in 2008, 31st December, after 26/11 attack on Mumbai. So they have also come out, they have been very critical not only of the session court or the trial court, special Pota court, but also of the High Court. And in that context, the Supreme Court has pointed out one very crucial aspect of the innocence of the accused people in this case. And that was recovery of a letter written by one of the accused, supposedly written by one of the accused as per the prosecution case, which was found in the pocket, the pant pocket of one of the assailants which was killed by the army in an encounter in Akshardham in 2002 while the attack was going on. The surprising part was that although the bodies of both the assailants the terrorist was bullet ridden and all their clothes were blood soaked. Even the pocket from which the supposed letter was supposed to be recovered was blood soaked and was having the holes of bullets. Yet it was a clean paper, absolutely no stains and no bullet marks on the paper, and no blood, no soil, no nothing. So this was handled by the High Court by just saying one line. In criminal matters, in every other judgment also, the courts are supposed to deal with every aspect of the case by giving a logic how to overcome that situation. So in this case, how High Court overcame the non-existence of any stains on this letter was by simply saying that truth is stranger than fiction. So this Supreme Court has criticized very strongly, and which is, I think, a good thing for the Supreme Court to do. But what was surprising to me was that nobody is taking the next step. When Supreme Court is giving a finding, and although it would have been, maybe this point was never raised before the Supreme Court, but it would have been much better, or it would have been much better for these cases all over the country if Honorable Supreme Court had ordered for an inquiry to catch hold of the real murderers of 56 people who died in Akshardham temple on that day in 2002. That, I think, should be our thrust now. It should be the duty of the government to find out the real culprits. And for that, I think every one of us should make an effort. Now, coming back to my experiences, starting from, and I will be very candid and straightforward in saying many things, because ultimately it is our duty as lawyers, as citizens, to highlight, even if there are some laxities done by the courts. And I say this with full sense of responsibility, that these things have to be highlighted to strengthen the judicial system of our country, which, to my mind, and I may be wrong, is, as of now, the last hope of the citizens of this country to get justice. And rule of law, I think, and that is also my personal opinion, more important than election to elect governments. Every government which is elected has to pursue this goal of rule of law, and that is the most sacrosanct principle and basis of any democratic society, or for that matter, any society. So if we do not criticize, if we do not constructively criticize the actions of few of the judicial officers also, I think we will be failing our duty to strengthen the judicial system, which is, I think, now the only strong point and the backbone of strengthening of our country, or backbone of the democracy of our country. So in that context, I'll start from Sayyid Ahmad Kazmi's case itself. And I can also understand that judges are also human beings. They get, despite their training, despite their best efforts, they also somehow or the other, at times, and atmosphere in which the country is there today. And that atmosphere is of a very, very negative image of people who are shown as terrorists. And that is a dangerous thing to say. And there are hundreds of judgments to that regard, that the gravity of offense should not at all color the judgment of the judges. So in that context, when I took up Syed Ahmed Kazmi's case, that is the Israeli embassy bomb blast case, that was my first case in this regard, in these matters. The first thing I saw was
that the magistrate court do not have power in these matters is a separate issue. But the behavior of the magistrate, and there was only one magistrate at that point in time, who was handling all these charges. The attitude
bias, and which we established by various judicial pronouncements, which we got in context of the actions taken by that judge. But not only that, various mandatory provisions of the CRPC and other Evidence Act and the High Court rules were being flouted with impunity. But there was this attitude and this behavior of the judge that as if I was doing something which was not the right thing. That attitude was there, and which I think is not a good thing for a judge to have. But there are good judges also. In every other field like judiciary, there are good people and there are bad people. There are brilliant people and there are not so brilliant people. But judges have a special responsibility. Judges have certain basic duties which go to the root of the democratic process of our country. So that was one. And then what is the problem in these cases is that police is biased. In this Kazmi's case also, everybody knew that police was biased, and their own charge sheet which they presented in the court did not at all match with the statements they made in the press. So an entirely different picture was painted in the press. The charge sheet did not even contain 10% of what was said in Kazmi's case in Israeli embassy bomb blast case. Then there is diversionary tactics of the state. When we nailed them on certain legal points, which not only were technical aspects of the matter in these cases, but also which went to the root of the guilt and innocence of the accused, they were also the tactics which the state government adopted was through their public prosecutors is to, when they see that there is an inevitability in the entire thing and that we might get favorable orders, the tactics they adopted was to delay the matter. And this tactics is being adopted by various state governments, by various public prosecutors across the country, and I am appearing in various high courts in these matters, various district courts in these matters. But of course I will say that there are certain good judges. And then if a judge which is known, or who is known in the High Court especially, who is known for his understanding of criminal law, there the state will make every effort that this case is not decided before him. They will take date and things like that. That is another challenge we faced, in not only Kazmi's case, but in all the other cases. We raised certain very, very crucial issues, which is going to benefit, I think, all the innocent people who have been involved in UAPA cases or terror cases. Those were that only central government can invoke UAPA. State governments do not have power to invoke and slap UAPA provisions on any citizen. That is the first point we raised in Kazmi. Second point, that the courts of magistrates do not have any jurisdiction to entertain any of the UAPA cases. Now, if these two points are decided, then, and I am hopeful that they will be decided in our favor, then this will have an impact on all the investigations conducted, especially after December 2008 in these matters. So the tactics which the state government, especially the Union of India and this Delhi state government is adopting is that there was a reference regarding these 2 points which was raised before the High Court by a district judge, which I must say is a very good and meticulous and a judge in the true sense of the word. So that reference was sent to the High Court in year 2012. Now it's 2014. Senior law officers, including Additional Solicitor General, is appearing in this matter from the side of the government. But by one way or the other, they are taking dates after dates, adjournments after adjournments, and this matter is not being decided in a matter which will affect all these cases across the country. And this is happening in Delhi High Court. But simultaneously, we are moving these applications in various other high courts also, and we are hopeful that these two issues will be at least soon resolved. Bombay High Court, the dates regarding this are coming early next month, regarding this issue, that is 3rd of July. So I'm quite hopeful if the judgment regarding this comes, that will give benefit to not one or two, but all the people who have been falsely implicated in these matters, and that just does not go to people belonging to minority community from Muslims or Sikhs or the northeastern people where many of the Christians have also been arrested, but it will also go to benefit in a long way all the tribals whose voice is least heard in these matters. There are thousands upon thousands of tribals who have been falsely implicated in terror cases. These poor people will not even know anything outside their small home or village, but such stringent provisions of law have been slapped on them and they are incarcerating in jail. I am very hopeful that we get a favorable order soon in this. So one thing as social activists, as a social organization you can do is that to put pressure on the government that whatever may be the decision of the courts, they should not use, as we call in our lawyers' parlance, court tactics to defeat justice, to delay the matter or use one pretext or the other to have the matter diverted to another issue. So these things, because state is duty bound and public prosecutors, there are various judgments of the Supreme Court. Public prosecutors are not supposed to ensure the conviction of the accused people who have been accused of any offense. Their duty is to point out even the mistakes of a defense counsel. If a defense counsel is not able to highlight something which is from the file, from the case file, which is in the favor of the accused, it is the duty of them. This is Supreme Court. It is duty of the public prosecutor to point that out to the honorable judge. This is not happening. Public prosecutors across the country are acting in an adversarial manner, which is not the spirit of the criminal jurisprudence. So this is also something which social activists like you can highlight and can put pressure on the government, or by way of a signature campaign or a campaign or delegations should meet governments at various levels, that why this practice is being adopted. Be fair. More so, there is a need to be fair to these victims of these cases, as I always say, because now, maybe sometimes in the past it was not so visible to the common people, but now it is becoming visible. Even various cases are now leading into acquittals in these matters. So they should act, and recent Akshardham case should act as an eye-opener to everyone, including the government. Their stand should now change. When Supreme Court is coming down heavily on even the High Court and the trial court, then it should be an eye-opener. More so to the social activists, aware and well-informed social activists like you than other people. But it is the responsibility of people like you to make other people understand this and launch a movement which I think should be the most important and crucial aspects, far more important than what we people are doing in courts. This is the attitude of the courts, I told you, and the attitude of the police and the public prosecutors. Now, to make the fight or the struggle for finding out justice, this is the duty and this is the role of all the court officers, including a defense counsel, the judge, and the public prosecutor and police, and the witnesses. To what is the goal of a criminal trial or any litigation is by using all these ingredients, including judge, defense counsel, counsels from both sides, witnesses, and the various agencies, including police or any other agency which the court wants to use, is to come to the truth and arrive at justice or impart justice. And what is being done is this: every effort is being made, at least I can say with full confidence, from people on the side of the prosecution, to defeat justice, to somehow stop the honorable courts from arriving at justice. And I will give you my personal example that will make the case very, very clear. Apart from the various threats which you must be reading in press and everywhere else from the underworld, and that came as a last resort, there were various things. Most of my close friends were directly or indirectly approached to counsel me that why am I taking these matters so personally? I should go slow. That was the first. Then there were various attempts by them to harm me in various ways, not only professionally but even otherwise. That being apart, then deliberately to harm my other practice, they would deliberately make sure that when I am in the court, they will not, public prosecutor will take a date and things like that. And when I'm not there, the matters will be expedited. Because I have to travel for these cases also and for my other professional work out of Delhi. I am based in Delhi. So all these things, the minimum accommodation which is responsibility will never be or would rarely be mine. This is another matter. Then they would even want to infiltrate my office with some of their informers, which also I've found out, and we've been forced to take action. So these are the things, and then ultimately, when everything else failed, when the NIA filed a charge sheet in a larger conspiracy case of Indian Mujahideen, in which and that is the famous, it also mentioned a famous German bakery blast case, that Himayat Beg's case, in which Himayat Beg has been sentenced 5 deaths and 6 life sentences for a crime he did not do. I came into that case, I was engaged in that case after the conviction, and we appealed in the High Court. Now, NIA comes up with a larger conspiracy of Indian Mujahideen in March, which was published in press, which said and reiterated the stand taken by Delhi Police, Bengaluru Police, and NIA in its previous charge sheet. And this stand was in direct contravention or opposition to the stand taken by the investigating agency of German bakery blast case, that is Maharashtra Anti-Terrorist Cell. Now, both these 3 investigating agencies said that Himayat Beg, the accused which has been sentenced to death, was not involved. Someone else was involved. Maharashtra police says that no, Himayat Beg was involved, and they filed a charge sheet and got the conviction. How they got the conviction is another story. But when this happened, I said I went to Pune and I interacted. Some press people came and asked me questions about that. So I told them that this is a very simple case. We are going to move the courts for that, and we will take necessary legal action on that. And that case being that once 3 investigating agencies are saying that this is not the real culprit, this is not the real terrorist, the necessary corollary from that is that the police have caught this with full knowledge of the findings of these 3 investigating agencies. Maharashtra ATS, headed by Mr. Rakesh Maria, now the commissioner, then the ATS chief, has caught hold of an innocent person to save the real terrorist. And that is a terrorist act in itself. And we are going to take legal action. After that, those threats to me started coming from the very next day, from that underworld don who identifies himself as Ravi Pujari or something like that. Thereafter, what happens is that various people wrote letters. I have not made the complaint to police, and I will never do that, because I am not going to be cowed down or afraid of these things. One question which is being hurled at me is that why have you not personally made a complaint against this? And the answer to that is very simple. This is something which is in the knowledge of the entire nation, which is in the knowledge of the police forces also. And to register an FIR of a cognizable offense, mere knowledge is enough. And they can always register an FIR and then come to me for investigation. I will cooperate as a witness. But they want me to approach them with folded hands for security. That I am not going to do. So they wrote, the Mumbai police then, after this came in, become in public domain, and some people wrote letters to the Prime Minister and National Human Rights Commission. So Mumbai police writes a letter to me that Mumbai police is a secular force and we do not discriminate between religion. And this was coming out from nowhere, because I never think on those lines. So they wanted to push me into that corner, and then they said that we would like to give you security. So I wrote back to them saying that please be very clear on this. Please tell me where have I said that Mumbai police is against one particular community, minority community or Muslims. I have never said that. And I don't believe in that also. It is not the police force. It is a few officers like Mr. Rakesh Maria, who are corrupt people, obviously, and who have criminal motives to do all kind of illegal activities, and that too, these are my allegations. The truth will only come out if these people are booked, FIRs are registered against them, then there is a free and fair investigations against them, and then they face the trial, and ultimately when Supreme Court decides that these people are guilty, only then they will be guilty. I would not use 2 standards for these corrupt police officers and the innocent, which I see innocent as people who are inside jails, who have been falsely implicated. The standards of law are same, even for these police officers and for those innocent. So when we are pursuing that course of law, they should also follow that course of law. FIR should be registered now, because this is manifest. 3 investigating agencies are saying the investigation was wrong. The investigation conducted by Rakesh Maria and his team were wrong. The right person was not caught. Therefore, FIR should be registered against him. It was after that. And then I told them that it is only against these corrupt officers and these criminals, as I tell them, apparently, that I was speaking against. I have nothing against Mumbai police. So then they withdrew my security for some time, which they resumed. I am not still asking for security. The thing which I ask for is that go to the root of every problem. I have been threatened. Why I have been threatened? Not because of me. Because they are afraid that we might win cases, because we might arrive at justice, we might arrive at the truth. So this is an attack not on me, but the entire judicial system, because ultimately I am not going to pass judgments. It is the honorable judges who are going to pass judgments. It is those police officers who are going to investigate these FIRs against these corrupt police officers, who are going to arrest them and put them behind bars. So what they are afraid of is, and that is a very heartening thing, that even these people who are so resourceful, who are part of a larger international conspiracy, are afraid of Indian judicial system. With all its weaknesses, like any other system. Indian judicial system also has weaknesses, but still it has got that strength, and that is the heartening thing. That people like him, people like Rakesh Maria are scared of judiciary, that I will file an application and which will convert and which will take the long arm of the court of the law to his neck. This is the strength of our judiciary. We must protect it. So this is the plus point. So although things are difficult, but the satisfaction, not only the personal satisfaction which I and people like me get, and there are so many social activists who are functioning more tirelessly with more determination than I am. So the satisfaction which we get, I was also a corporate lawyer who was not doing all these cases, but the satisfaction I get in these matters, after seeing the smile or after making a point which is going to help these people, which is going to bring out the truth. I have never got this satisfaction in any other matter, be it having the stakes of thousands of crores or whatever. That is one aspect. Second aspect is, which is more important, what will become of our country? Is it not responsibility of every citizen to stand up and save our country from these criminals and from these people who are conspiring against our country, who wants to project an image of instability, of having a disturbed atmosphere in our country, so that we cannot get our rightful position as the leader of the world. Because now is the time when India is growing. Now is the time when our economy is at a brink of moving to the next level and becoming a world power, not only economically, but even otherwise. So this is a conspiracy against India, as I see. So is it not responsibility of each one of us? Because each one of us is going to then, as our country grows, each one of us will also grow. And it is a conducive, cordial atmosphere which will lead to the perfect harmony which the constitution makers, the founding fathers of our country dreamt of. And this is one of the most crucial area in which we all must function. Please do not take it as some area which is an isolated area, not connected with everything else. This is going to be the turning point. The truth coming out in terror cases is going to divulge a conspiracy against India. The truth out of these cases is going to put our country on a path where there is development, where there is growth for everyone. So this is not a small matter. Because bringing out the truth in these matters will expose, and which is going to bring to book the conspirators against India and the conspirators against every one of us. And it is our duty. And that is the duty I think everyone must perform. More so, I would request all the lawyers to take up these cases. At least they should take up out of their practice, all the lawyers who are doing very well, at least 5 to 10% of their total briefs they should have of these matters, because this is crucial matter. And I can assure these lawyers that the satisfaction and the respect they will get now and very soon, when they expose the truth, when they arrive at justice in cases like these, the satisfaction and the recognition they will get will take many, many more years in any other field. And that is again a positive side of it, which I think that should attract successful lawyers also to take up these matters. Apart from this, I also want to tell you that now the times are changing. The wind has started blowing the other direction. It was very difficult 2 years.
It was
Difficult. The situation for me personally, I can only speak from and I am sure this experience must have been felt by other lawyers who are doing this and other activists who are undertaking this kind of work. They must have faced the same. But I am sensing